Welcome to Youth Unfiltered,
the show where we move away from the grooving and the turning up and instead focus on the actual issues affecting our youth today, featuring actual youth, completely unfiltered. My name is Sibu Mpanza, and today I'm joined by three beautiful people to chat all things gender, identity, and everything in between. Please help me welcome Umqoqindlela, Boitoko, and Tejo. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Faces are beat to the gods.
Period.
Okay, so the first thing I want to do is have a pronoun chat. Okay, we can go around. He, him. Sorry, boring.
He, him.
He, him.
She, they, them.
She, they, them.
So I go by Beyonce pronouns.
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm kidding. He, him will do.
He, him will do.
This generation, even here at uni, even within even my community, there is like a great acceptance. So yeah, I do definitely believe there is like a lot of support and rallying for the LGBTQI community.
Well, our community is very accepting. I mean, our young generation is coming up and accepting because they can change their minds. In our campus life, people are actually very accepting.
Well, I would say that because South Africa is very progressed, I would say that the LGBTQIA here is a little bit, even like from offshore, it's a little bit different, but it is just, a fun vibe. It's us. What can I say?
Very broad question, but I need to know, first thing that pops up to your mind when you think of the current landscape of the LGBTQ community within South Africa.
So I think that South Africa is not the utopia that it's positioned to be. We do know that we have a constitution that says it protects the rights of gay people, but that is not the case on the ground.
I would like to state that the mere fact that there's still so much around debating queer identities, that alone should tell us that queer people at the present moment, it's merely on paper, but in reality, we're not really as free and as equal to everyone else that exists out there.
I definitely agree with what they're both saying. I feel like as much as they do say, especially on social media, that, hey, we are recognized, we are seen, I do think that there are certain places that just need to understand and just be able to adapt to homosexuality in general.
In the broader South African community, we have very sort of strong cultural and religious traditions, right? Mm-hmm. How do you then, as a person, but also as a LGBTQIA plus person, how do you advocate, right, while also respecting traditional beliefs?
I think it's important for society to acknowledge that the two are not codependent.
Yes.
Without religion, I can live. Without culture, I can live. Culture and religion cannot survive if I'm not there.
Yeah.
So I feel like humanity should always be put first. But back to your question, I think it's important that we engage in discourse around identity issues in a respectful manner, whether I subscribe to the religion or not, whether I subscribe to the culture or not.
But also, individuals should be allowed to interpret religion however they would like to. We shouldn't be using religion as almost like a tool to exclude individuals who are already the minority and who are already a marginalized community. If you are going to come to me and say that according to my religion, this is how a man should be, then that shouldn't be my issue, that you are perceiving a man to be a type of individual.
I mean, you know what? I first have to point out the fact that I grew up in a very religious family. Like my mom and dad are pastors, and trust me, we've had
PK kids.
Trust me, we have had multiple conversations about just homosexuality in general. And what I've noticed about that is that, listen, they have their own opinions. I have my own opinions. Whether we agree with certain things or not, what matters is that we just have to respect each other. We should accept the fact that they're just not gonna understand where we are coming from. Therefore, we should just understand ourselves and respect ourselves. Yeah.
I believe that straight people and the LGBTQI community should have some form of convergence between them, because it actually shows a form of being an ally and being a supporter, and also creates a more environment where we have a lot of acceptance for the LGBTQI community, and it creates a lot of learning also about the community even more. Yeah.
I think in gay clubs, straight people should be let in, of course, because I mean, it's not like when you enter the club, they ask you what's your sexuality, and then you're just like, I'm heterosexual. Okay, you can't come in. So obviously they have to let people in.
To me, regarding the safe spaces and allowing straight people to come in, when you allow one person, everyone wants to join in, and that ruins the safe zone and the sanctity of it. So I wouldn't say no, but I wouldn't say yes as well.
I am a straight man and I love me a good Vogue night, but we do have to be very careful of being in spaces that were created for queer people. So what is your feeling around it? Obviously different spaces have different criteria and things like that, but your general sense.
I don't think I'd want to see you by Vogue nights, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Spaces such as Vogue nights are created for queer individuals, for us to come together, to find a sense of belonging. I mean, human beings are social beings. We want to feel as if we are seen, but we also want to feel as if we do have some sort of a family around us. So if I'm going to see an individual who is, heterosexual, then that becomes a problem, because then not only do I feel as if you are trying to jump on a bandwagon that's not for you, but also I feel as if you are now intimidating me in my own little space that I'm trying to create.
I would like to disagree from the sense that it's activism in a way. And I feel like if Sibu steps into that space, consciously buys a ticket and comes to Vogue nights, oftentimes it's with a mindset that is different from the person that holds homophobic sentiments. And those are people who are going to be parents one day. Who knows, that person might raise a transgender child. There's a long-term impact that a person who doesn't identify as queer, accessing queer spaces has on the larger society after experiencing those spaces.
Would you say now that Warren Masemola, as a case in point, when he's playing a role of a queer individual, he's then allowed the freedom to learn and take something home from that?
See, in that case, I would like Warren Masemola as a creative to open the door for queer people to play the role, turn down the role, and say, guys, look for a queer person to do this.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I have quite a lot of straight male friends. So if I Vogue nights is gay clubs, be it whatever it is, I literally go with them everywhere. So I think for me, I just enjoy seeing just a straight person having fun in a gay space or in an LGBTQ plus space.
Sorry, I'm just struggling with this because if we are speaking about a community that has been excluded for so long, why do we then now feel it's important to include the very same people who have excluded us for years?
The idea is for society to tolerate, well, not tolerate, to coexist with us. I never have an issue with a straight guy being at Shakers or at Liquid Blue or anywhere else, as long as they do not threaten my safety.
I think the difficult thing is how then do you tell who's dangerous and who's not in those spaces if we are? Because I go in and I'm like, I know I'm not dangerous, I'm not going to be homophobic to anybody, but you can't get to the door and be like, yazwena, yabonakala ba usabu homophobic wena sungena.
Because to be quite honest, I'm not comfortable going into a straight social setting. Heterosexuals can always learn from a distance. You need not to be in my intimate space for you to learn.
We're about to cancel something. It's my favorite part of the show. We get to cancel a thing, a concept, a topic that has to do with the topic at hand. Okay, I will start. I think I would like to cancel this idea that pronouns are this difficult thing within language. It's like learning someone's name. I feel like that's literally all it is. Once you learn someone's name, you call them by that name, and that's it.
I'd like to cancel the fact that people think or they believe that pink is for girls. What a lot of people do not know is that up until the 1940s, pink was actually considered to be a very masculine type of color. So that's what I would like to cancel.
I would like to cancel ignorance from people. Don't come to me and disrespect me knowing very well that you can literally go out there and gain the same knowledge that I have. So
I would like to cancel the culture of silencing queer people when they speak out against injustices they experience, particularly by people who do not relate to anything queer.